Hey, welcome to Walking Wilder. I'm Bark. There's some sort of transformation that you are going through at the moment. Um, Either you're right in the midst of it, or it's something that's coming up very shortly. Some very intuitive part of you is coming into your life. And that's not to say that you haven't been an intuitive person until now, but this is like there's something that's awakening on a deeper level than what you have been used to in the past. This card talks about the key to intimacy. Here it feels like the key to the relationship that you have with yourself. See how she's holding the light here. This is like you looking into your own inner shadows, your own inner wisdom, the knowledge that you carried with you for generations, for lifetimes, I hear. There's something here about reawakening, not awakening apparently, reawakening to some knowledge or some wisdom that you have always had and that you are now ready to integrate to this lifetime. Um, this card talks about circles, and I don't know, the clarity begins in the eye of the storm. I don't, this doesn't really talks to me as I'm sorry if I sound really weird today. I'm just starting to get better after having the flu, so my voice is weird, my head is weird. um, but I felt like you know, I had something coming through here. But there's something about the circle of life, circle of generations, things that we repeat, patterns that are repeating but also growing or changing over time. So the evolution of what are we learning from the life that we live, that type of thing. This card gives me this generational feeling of passing down things from, the people that came before us. This can also be your higher self, but this feels much like an ancestral things, like there's gifts that runs in your family line that you are now opening up to. This might, and keep in mind, some of these gifts might be way back in time, and you are like, well, I don't know that anybody in my immediate family have any kind of, spiritual abilities. We all have that, but, gifts that they are aware of that they have, let me put it that way. But there's something here about going back in time, connecting with knowledge or wisdom that has previously been at play in your lineage. I don't know. And you may not, as I said, you might not be aware of it, but that's just the way that it comes apart. Over here is this card, the vessel. And there's something here about remembering that, I don't know how good you can see it, but there's something about the body being the vessel. And here it feels like the going through the going through your lineage, that doesn't sound right. The what? Spirit. Sagittarius, there might be something about teaching, being curious, the traveler, that type of thing. There's something about your dreams. It's like there's like something is trying to come through to you that is from a previous time and place that you may not be aware of. So it's like having to recognize something that you've never seen before. I don't know. Take whatever resonates with you. These readings are sometimes a little, I don't know, mystic in some, the mystic, yeah, in some way here. So anyways, welcome back. If you've been here before, welcome in if you're new. I'm Bark, this is Walking Wilder, and I'm an intuitive clairvoyant reader. So I see, hear, and feel things and combine that with the archetypes of the cards. So if this resonates with you, please give the reading a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment. Share it with people you think might enjoy it. And thanks for watching. All right, let's see here. What is the challenge here, Spirit? It's the Five of Pentacles. So there's some energy here of being in some sort of lack, or this feeling of struggle, of not really having what it takes. Some of you might be doubting your spiritual journey, doubting that you actually, you might have some intuitive knowledge that yes, you have some sort of gift that is trying to open up, but you're kind of like, nah, that can't, that's not me. That's something other people can do. There's not, you know, there's not really um, the feeling of there's a part of you that feels like this can't be for you, that you're not worthy, you're not, good enough, or we don't do that. It's kind of like, it feels like outside of your field kind of thing. Some of you might have been in totally different fields and are trying to, or not trying to, but are opening up to gifts that you would have been like, that's a load of BS, things like this doesn't happen, that type of thing. So there's something there. That might not be all of you, but there's something there. Seven of Cups, there's something about having a lot of choices here, but it's also a card that can sometimes talk about illusions. For some of you, you're kind of like, what the heck is going on here? You might, be starting to experience things that you haven't experienced before, gifts that are opening up. You might see things, hear things, or, just understand things on another level than what you did, and you're kind of like, where did this come from, but this is all about you getting to know yourself at a much deeper level than what you have before. It's kind of like going underneath the surface. When you look at the ocean, it's like, yeah, there's this vast thing, this vast body of water, which is emotions. um, but it's also like underneath the surface, you can go very, very deep, especially, in certain places, to things that you never even imagined existed. So there's something about that. This time period being something, a place or a time where you can really learn something about yourself, but you have to be able to, you know, this card also talks about dreams. You have to be able to kind of pay attention to what's coming up. If you have dreams and you're kind of like, what is this? This is weird. This is, you might be dreaming in a different way. You might all of a sudden remember your dreams, even though haven't in the past. I rarely remember my dreams, but there's some type of thing here, some sense of urgency of starting to paying attention to what you're dreaming, what you are experiencing, and questioning, what is this? Being open. The Sagittarius energy here is also, very curious on, um, the deeper things in life. This is like an energy that wants to learn, that wants to teach, that wants to explore, that wants to figure out what wisdom is hidden here. What is, so there's something here about paying attention to also repeated cycles, things that keeps coming up in your life, things that you keep seeing, that type of thing. Here's the Six of Pentacles. This can feel like, for some of you, like it takes a lot of your time. The Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles talks about being generous with other people. It's giving your time, your energy, your money, that type of thing. And that can be a challenge. It's kind of like, it feels like a tug of war type of thing where, you, um, you're trying to spend your time and energy looking inside, but there might, for some of you at least, be a lot of things that are pulling on you in the 3D world. There might be a lot of shadow work. This is the Five of Cups. It talks about grief and sorrow and that kind of thing, hardship. But to me, it's also a shadow card, especially, well, it is in this deck anyway. Um, it's like you're facing a part of yourself that has been hidden away for a very long time, and now that it comes up, it might bring up old grief. It might bring up old old feelings of, not being worthy. With the Five of Pentacles here, it's like two fives. Fives are also changed though, so there's definitely something that's changing here. But it feels like it's not easy. It's very, and not because the change itself is extremely difficult, but because it feels like this is very deep, on a very deep level. Really getting to know an intimate part of yourself. Yeah. All right. I need a sip of tea. I apologize if that's really loud. I have headsets on because my microphone is broken at the moment. So, what can I know about the supportive energy here, Spirit, for whatever this process is for the viewer? Oh, there's 4 cards as well. 2 of Cups. All right, so there's a choice that you are making right now. And see, this can also be, you with your shadow self, you with your higher self. And I feel it is. This is not about you and someone else. This reading very much feels like this is you and your inner process, your inner getting to know yourself, deciding who you are, who you want to become, what you are wanting to do. There's a feeling of, on a very deep level, really deciding, what am I going to spend my time, my energy, my effort on? Who am I? What can I, how can I, um, how can I bring things into light with the sun here? Now, she's a child. There's something about childhood memories, childhood experiences that might be able to help you on this path. Here's the Ten of Cups. So this, in a lot of ways, this is you pursuing what is your Ten of Cups. This is you seeking, well, sounds so, the ultimate happiness, but this is you seeking knowledge of yourself to create the best possible life, and not in the way of, um, I want to be wise enough to get a lot of physical things into my world and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you might be doing that as well. But this is how do I really get to know myself, um, and understand who I am, so that I can have that inner peace, that inner happiness. This is all about your inner aligning with who your soul is, what you're here to do. And I know, tarot readers says that all the time, but do on a deep level. What are you here to learn as a person? Of course, lots of you are doing beautiful work out in the world, and well, we definitely need that. But this is about your own personal journey. This is about how can you, um, get to know yourself deeper, better. How can you align with who you are, not to go and give your gifts to someone else? And again, some of you might be doing that, and it's beautiful, it's good, it's all of that. But this is like, how can I become the emperor in my own, um, how can I know myself? Be the stability, the structure, um, the leader in my own life. It feels more, um, it feels like going after this, knowing yourself, so that there's always inner peace regardless of what the world is throwing at you, type of thing. All right, what don't we see coming with this, Spirit? What can I know about what the viewer do not see coming with this process here. Page of Pentacles. This is a new opportunity. Can I know more? Yeah, new possibilities here, or new opportunity. Now, there's something here about the Ten of Wands. This is you leaving something behind that has really been a heavy burden. Now, there's something about making a choice with the Two of Pentacles, keeping in balance, making sure, and for some of you, this is like, whatever this is, again, it might feel like it's, it kind of feels like you might wake up one day and be like totally almost engulfed in this experience of getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And so it feels like it's going to take up a lot of your time, a lot of your attention. But there's something here about remembering to stay balanced, remembering where do you use your resources. This is an important process. So it is very important that you take time for it. Of course, there's still things you have to do out in the world, all of that good stuff. So it's not to say, to not give this or to not do that, but there's something about keeping the balance, making sure that you use your resources to support this. All right, but yeah, there's new opportunities, and here's the Six of Cups again. So going back to that, there's a new opportunity about learning something about yourself that has been going on ever since your childhood, that has been going on, for some of you through several lifetimes. If you don't believe in that, disregard that, or, well, I talk about that a lot, so I might not be a reader if you're like, well, I don't think that we reincarnate, which is fine, you do you. I'm just saying I talk about it a lot. So, um, but there's something here about, again, going back to this knowledge, seeing things from, a new, a new perspective. We don't have the Hangman here, so, but there's something about learning. Here's the Hierophant, about learning from the past, learning from others, perhaps with the cycles from, things that go back in time. Justice. Some of this is karmic. Some of this is karmic justice, and you are meant to, um, at this point in time, be in this process. Hmm. What else can I know, Spirit? I feel like I'm missing something here. Queen of Cups, the World, Knight of Swords. Yeah, this is coming in fast. Knight of Swords energy is really fast. This is moving, and it will be like, perhaps catch some of you by surprise. There might be something that occurs. Now, we don't have any Tower cards on the table, so it's not like, it's going to be like this big blow up type of energy. But things might take off really, really fast. There is transformation here. Here's the World. So something is over. Now, this feels to me like a way of looking at yourself, a way of looking at the world. Not that, it's a physical thing. Of course, it can be. But it feels much more like you're reaching the completion of some karmic cycle and are stepping in to a new version of you. Here's the Queen of Cups that's more intuitive, more self-loving. A lot of this has to do with how you view yourself, how you honor yourself, how you see yourself in your lineage as, the healer, the teacher, the whatever it is, even if you're not, you know, actively healing anyone, or talking about this with people in your lineage, there's something here about being able to heal um, things from your family line back, in generations also. And for some of you, this is this wounded healer energy that you're here to do exactly that, and are waking up to a greater understanding of what that actually means on a deeper level. Can I get some advice here, Spirit? King of Cups. Oh, we have the Queen and King of Cups now. There's something about here, the balance between the masculine and the feminine. And here's the Magician. So, this is you with the King and Queen of Cups. This balancing your masculine and your feminine energy, manifesting this new life that you are wanting to do. But it's also this thing of being aware of that you manifest by using both your masculine and your feminine side, your intuition, your inner guidance, all of that, but also, the things that you do out in the world, the planning and all of that. There's something here about really balancing how you approach the world, and making sure that you are not, you know, giving all your time and attention to one side, that you're either living in this spiritual process, this self-development thing, which is fine, which is beautiful, but that you are also doing something out in the physical world that makes sense to you, that supports who you are, that are um, that are strengthening the masculine side of you. I, it sounds, I don't know, this is hard to put into words somehow. There might be something about the way that you communicate, um, put up boundaries and that type of thing. Something about being balanced with how people see you, clear about who you are, what your, you know, where your boundaries are. What else, Spirit? Ace of Cups. Yeah, this is a new beginning in love. And not love again, you know, this doesn't feel like it involves someone else. Of course, you might meet someone else here, but this is very much about, how do I see myself? For some of you, it's also about, how do I see my ancestors, my lineage? For some of you, most of you actually, I think, this whole looking inwards here, looking at what you came from, looking at what you have with you, will open up for you to see how other people became who they were, how their suffering was caused by things that they have experienced. And if someone caused you suffering, someone else might have caused them suffering, and that type of thing. And that's not to excuse, if someone did something that they were absolutely not supposed to do. This feels more like there'll be a greater understanding, of souls' journeys on earth, of what we are here to, we come here to experience things, to develop, that type of thing. This feels like greater understanding and healing. Um, Healing what, Spirit? Six of Wands, that talks about success. There's something about honor in this card too. There might be some shame, some old shame that needs to be healed, either yours or someone else's that came before you. And what about that, Spirit? How to do that? How to do that? Six of Wands again. That's interesting. There might be some old shame that needs to be looked at from a perspective of learning to Something about boundaries. Here's the Lovers. Can I get something on this? What is that Six of Wands about, Spirit? Prayer. Disrupted. Let your heart speak. Exploratory. One more. Real. Yeah. There's definitely something about letting your heart speak and seeing other people's successes for what they really are. There's something about shame here. I don't think it's yours. Internal. There might be a wound in your line about shame over things done, said, whatever, that is somehow blocking for success of some sorts. See, prayer, things you prayed for, things people have prayed for, disrupted. Let your heart speak. There might be some need for forgiveness here, which can be difficult because this doesn't really feel like you have actually that you might even know what this is, but it's like it's internal family deep hidden pattern of some sort of shame, regret, whatever it is, that is somehow blocking something in your lineage. You might, want to and do this only if it feels good to you. Do some kind of ceremony, and try and release this. I don't know. I'm seeing a white candle and flowers, and I don't know. You could take like a little card like this, write the word shame on it, and burn it, or I don't know. There's something. Page of Cups, which can of course be an apology. But this doesn't feel at all like it's something that you are even aware of. This feels like, of course, you might, have some sort of intuitive awareness of that there's a relationship with shame in your family line. And I don't mean, but it's like that the family's line's way of looking at what is honorable, what is shameful, how do we view ourselves, that type of thing. Seven of Wands, definitely something about boundaries. Can I get 3 final cards on this? I hope it makes sense, guys. This is very Page of Cups again. Definitely this, intuitive energy here. And again, you might, on this journey or somehow feel something that, if I have to venture a guess, you won't be able to really name because it seems difficult for me to get to it. And that might, of course, also be because there's more than one of you. But it could also be that you intuitively feel that there's something that needs healing in your lineage without being able to name what it is. And it's, find some kind of ceremony, some kind of ritual that you can do. Or go to your church, light a candle, make a ceremony yourself, say a prayer, release something into nature, whatever feels, aligned to your way of practicing, and do, what you feel called to do. All right, Spirit, 2 more cards. Here's the 5 of Swords, 10 of Swords. All right, yeah, this has been hurtful in a long, long time. From the 5 of Swords to the 10 of Swords. 10 of Swords are also endings, though. So whatever it is, this is time. Yep, here's Justice again. It's time for it to end. It has lasted long enough. It's time for this pattern, this feeling, this whatever it is to end. And it feels very much like you are the one designated to do this. Now, if you feel like, oh my goodness, no, of course you do you. I don't think you would still be watching then. So there's something there. Yeah, here's the Ace of Wands. A new opportunity, new beginning can happen. Growth can happen once you let this go. This is for your lineage, but it's also for you, because it's also whatever this energy is has been blocking you as well. All right. Is there anything else to say to this spirit? I kind of feel like not really done. Can I have one last card from these? Confusion, inner integration. Yeah, see, it's like there's things from this lineage that needs to be somehow looked at, integrated, released, healed, whatever the case is for you. But it's like there's a part of you, with this key to intimacy that you can only know if you understand something about your lineage on a deeper level. And this has been confusing to you up until now. But see, here's the light. This is this inner process, stormy weather. Yeah, growth hurts, heals, and harness a way through the uncertainty. There's definitely something here that runs in your lineage, whether you know about it or not, that you need to do some sort of healing work around. If you feel called to, if you're like, heck no, then don't, never do something that you don't feel called to. But my feeling is, if this is your reading, then you also intuitively know that there's something there. And again, you might not be able to name it. You just know that there's something there. So anyways, I think I'll leave it there. It's a little, I don't know, but I hope it makes sense, and it serves on some level. So only take what resonates. Never try and make things fit. And if you're like, this sounds crazy, then this is definitely not for you. So again, thank you so much for for watching. I'm Bark. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in another reading. Big love.